welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're jumping into something really huge, one of life's most incredible journeys, raising children.
Absolutely, and it's foundational.
Exactly. And right at the heart of it, from the very beginning, are the choices we make about nutrition. We're really talking about laying the groundwork for, a lifetime of healthy habits.
It shapes so much.
It really does.
Yeah.
So today we're taking a deep dive into insights from the CDC, that's the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, America's public health agency. Specifically, their really useful piece called Good Nutrition Starts Early.
A great resource.
Our mission today is basically to unpack the most important bits from this source. Think of it as a shortcut for you, the listener, to get well informed about feeding young kids.
Cutting through the noise.
Yeah, exactly. And as we explore this, I think, you might find some facts that are a bit surprising, maybe give us all something to chew on.
Definitely.
This deep dive is really designed for you, so you can grab this knowledge quickly, thoroughly, without feeling totally overwhelmed.
Makes sense.
The core idea from the CDC seems crystal clear. Nutrition isn't just about physical growth.
Right.
It's absolutely critical for brain development too. And those early eating experiences, they seem to have this massive lifelong impact on how we eat later on.
Oh, profoundly. It sets the stage.
So the big question then is, what does all this actually mean for us when we're feeding the little ones in our lives?
Well, what's really striking is how the CDC frames this, not just as recommendations, but with a sense of real agency.
Urgency, okay.
How so?
If you look at the bigger picture, they mention a 2021 survey finding, and it's pretty concerning.
Oh, what did it find?
It found that many young children weren't eating a fruit or a vegetable daily. And maybe even more concerning, many drank at least one sugary drink in the week before that survey.
Wow. Okay, that puts things into perspective, not eating a fruit or vegetable every day.
Exactly. So this isn't just abstract advice. It connects to a real situation. It underlines why that consistent daily intake of fruits and veggies is so vital.
Not just for growing bodies, but crucially, like you said, for brain development too. And these early tastes, these early habits, they truly, truly shape how we approach food for decades.
That survey finding really does highlight the why, doesn't it? Okay, so let's unpack some of those specifics the CDC gives us.
Let's do it.
They're very clear about introducing young kids to lots of different fruits and vegetables. And thankfully, they say it doesn't have to be, all fancy, fresh, organic stuff.
Right? Fresh, frozen, or even canned options are all perfectly fine, which is practical.
That is practical. So if you're going for canned vegetables, is there anything specific we should look out for?
Yeah, definitely. You'll want to aim for the low-sodium versions, just to keep that extra salt down.
Okay, low sodium for veggies. And what about canned fruits or frozen ones?
Similar idea. Pick the ones packed in water or their own juice, basically those with little or no added sugars.
Right, makes sense. Get the good stuff without the extra sugar or salt.
Exactly. It's about maximizing the nutrition while keeping it accessible. Healthy eating doesn't need to be super complicated or, frankly, expensive.
That's a really helpful practical tip for families. So we know variety is key, using all those options. But what about the amounts? Does the CDC give actual benchmarks? Like how much fruit and veg do kids need at different ages?
They absolutely do. And it's broken down by age and also considers activity level, though we're looking at general ranges here.
Okay.
For children 12 to 23 months old, so toddlers, really, we're looking at about half a cup to 1 cup of fruit per day.
Half to 1 cup of fruit.
Okay.
And vegetables.
For that same age, 12 to 23 months, it's about 2/3 of a cup to 1 cup of vegetables daily.
Got it. So that's for the little toddlers. And then obviously, as they get older, their needs change. What about for, say, 2 to 4-year-olds?
Yeah, it jumps up. For 2 to 4-year-olds, the recommendation is 1 to 1.5 cups of fruit daily.
1 to 1.5 cups.
Okay.
And veggies.
For that age group, it's 1 to 2 cups of vegetables daily.
1 to 2 cups.
Okay.
And then the next stage, the 4 to 8-year-olds. I can almost hear parents thinking, wow, that sounds like a lot.
Amused tone. It can seem like it. For the 4 to 8-year-olds, it's 1 to 2 cups of fruit and 1.5 to 2.5 cups of vegetables daily.
1.5 to 2.5 cups of vegetables.
Okay. But the CDC does offer some smart swaps to help meet these targets, things that make it feel less daunting.
Oh, like what?
Like, instead of maybe a fruit-flavored cereal bar, which can have added sugars, offer whole fruit with some unsweetened granola.
Simple swap.
Or choosing roasted vegetables instead of, say, fried ones. It's not just about the food itself, but also shifting towards healthier ways of preparing it.
Those are great practical examples. And I like that rainbow of color idea they mention for serving fruits and veggies. Sounds like a good way to make it more appealing visually.
It really is. Kids often eat with their eyes first.
Definitely. Does the CDC give any other sort of creative tips for making healthy stuff more enticing, especially for kids who might be a bit hesitant, beyond just making it look colorful?
Well, a big theme is consistency and exposure. They really highlight this.
So not giving up after the first try.
Exactly. The CDC points out that even just minimal but repeated exposure to new tastes over time can significantly increase a child's acceptance. It's less about force feeding
Right.
and more about just consistent, gentle nudges. Keep offering it.
Gentle nudges, I like that.
And they give examples for achieving that rainbow effect too, like bananas, strawberries, pears, avocados for fruits,
Okay.
and maybe cooked spinach, carrots, sweet potatoes, or beets for vegetables. It helps parents visualize the variety.
That helps. And beyond fruits and veggies.
They recommend rounding out the diet with whole grains, breads, pastas, lean proteins, and things like pasteurized yogurts or cheeses, for a balanced approach overall.
That consistent, gentle approach makes so much sense, especially when you think about picky eaters. It takes the pressure off, maybe makes it feel less like a battleground at the meal table.
Hopefully, yeah. It's about the long game.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Beverages. This can be a really tricky area for parents, can't it? What does the CDC say about what young kids should be drinking?
It's crucial, definitely a tricky area. For babies 6 to 12 months old, it's mainly breast milk or infant formula. They can also have a bit of water, about 4 to 6 ounces a day once they start solids, usually.
Okay, mostly milk or formula, plus a little water, and then after 1 year.
Once they hit 12 months, you can introduce fortified, plain whole cow's milk. But what's really important here is the guidance on juice.
Yes, juice. What's the verdict?
Well, the American Academy of Pediatrics, which the CDC references, actually recommends waiting until children are at least 1 year old before offering any juice at all.
Waiting until 1 year old.
And even then, it should only be 100% fruit juice, no fruit drinks or cocktails. And it needs to be limited to the recommended amounts, which are pretty small.
That's really interesting about the juice, because I think a lot of parents see 100% juice and think, well, it's from fruit, it must be healthy.
Right, that's a common perception.
So why the strict limits? Even if it is 100% fruit juice, what's the hidden concern, especially thinking back to that survey stat about sugary drinks?
Yeah, the main worry is the sugar content. Even though it's natural fruit sugar, it's very concentrated in juice.
More concentrated than in whole fruit.
Absolutely. And juice lacks the fiber that you get in whole fruit. Fiber helps you feel full and slows down sugar absorption.
Okay, so without the fiber.
Right. It's really easy for kids to drink a lot of calories from juice quickly without feeling full, and that can displace other more nutrient-dense foods they need.
That makes sense. So what are the best choices then, according to the CDC?
They keep it simple. Beverages with no added sugars are always the best bet. Think water first and foremost.
Water, water, water.
And plain unsweetened milk, fat-free or low-fat after age 2, whole milk between 1 and 2. And they also mention unsweetened fortified soy beverages as an alternative if needed.
So it really boils down to water and plain milk, essentially.
Pretty much. It simplifies the drink menu and focuses on hydration without those extra sugars.
That clarity is super helpful for busy families. And it connects really nicely to something else the CDC emphasizes for parents and caregivers: the power of being a role model.
Oh, hugely powerful. This might be one of the most impactful takeaways.
What's the direct connection the CDC makes there? How does our eating affect theirs?
Well, the CDC states it very explicitly. Once children are about 12 months or older, they will eat more of the foods that you eat.
Wow. Directly, they eat what we eat.
Yes. It means our own healthy eating habits focusing on fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, low-fat dairy set this incredibly powerful example.
So if we want them to eat broccoli,
We probably need to be eating broccoli too and enjoying it. And that also includes limiting foods high in sodium and added sugars for ourselves and consistently choosing water or unsweetened drinks. It's not just telling them, eat your veggies, it's showing them how it's done.
that really is a call to action for all of us, isn't it? It's not just about the kids' plate, it's about ours too.
It absolutely is.
Okay, we've really dug into quite a bit here from the CDC's Good Nutrition Starts Early. We've seen just how critical fruits and vegetables are, not just for growing tall, but really fundamentally for brain development.
Foundational.
And we've got a clearer picture now of those daily recommendations, starting with that 1/2 to 1 cup of fruit for the 12 to 23-month-olds,
Right.
going all the way up to 1-2 cups of fruit, and 1.5 to 2.5 cups of veggies for those 4 to 8-year-olds.
Yes, those target ranges.
We talked about serving that rainbow of color to make things appealing and how important those beverage choices are, especially limiting juice and really prioritizing water and unsweetened milk.
Key points, definitely.
And we just covered that really powerful impact of being a role model. That reminder from the source that, yeah, once kids hit 12 months, they will literally eat more of what you eat.
It's direct modeling.
So our healthy eating patterns aren't just for our own well-being. They're actively laying the foundation for theirs.
And, this commitment to modeling healthy habits, it feels even more urgent when we circle back to that statistic we mentioned earlier.
The survey one.
Yeah, the fact that so many young children weren't getting a daily fruit or vegetable and were having sugary drinks back in that 2021 survey, it just reinforces how relevant and frankly critical this information we've unpacked really is.
It does bring it home.
So if we connect all these dots, thinking about the bigger picture, what stands out to you as maybe the single most impactful change families could make based on everything we've discussed today?
That's a great question. That really sticks with you, doesn't it? The most impactful change.
Yeah.
Given those challenges the survey revealed, and knowing how deeply these early experiences shape us, maybe it's about how we implement these things. How can we, as the role models, not just follow the guidelines, but actually foster a genuine sense of, adventure and joy around healthy eating?
Making it positive.
Yeah. How might we rethink introducing foods, maybe make lifelong healthy eating feel less like a chore, and more like this vibrant shared exploration, not just for our kids, but maybe for ourselves too.
Shifting the whole mindset around it.
Exactly. And the CDC does point towards helpful tools like MyPlate, that visual guide from the USDA.
Very useful visual.
And they have tips for dealing with picky eaters too, so those are definitely resources worth exploring further for anyone listening.
Good practical next steps.
Well, thanks for joining us on the deep dive. Lots to think about there.